And I thought it's something you buy, like a packet, or you sniff. I don't know what it was. I'm
going to do a bag of ayahuasca, right?
Yeah, I'm asking the taxi driver, can I get some ayahuasca?
Well, this one's a little bit different. So for anyone that's listening or watching this one, this is going to be a little bit different to my usual podcast. So I did have a little break for about 5 months. I went on a bit of a mad journey. And since then, we've rebranded Platinum University to the Lifestyle Lab. And as a result, we've then changed the name of the podcast, what I was originally going to call it before it was actually attached to the company. So it's now called the Moore2Life Podcast. And because everything's been a little bit manic and there's been so much going on, we thought for this first one, we'll do it a little bit differently. And my business partner and solid mate, James, is going to be interviewing me this time and just asking me questions about everything that's been going on, what the fuck I've been up to in my mad life, and just kind of reintroducing everything that we're doing and doing it from a bit of a different angle.
The roles are reversed. Disclaimer, I am extremely hungover. Yesterday we did a photo shoot. And whoever idea was to go to a beach club halfway through and get 2 bottles was not ideal, and was doing shots of tequila at the bar and we couldn't get the right angle, so I kept doing more shots. So
it was your idea, wasn't it?
It was my idea.
Oh, yeah.
I'm fucked. I'm
tired.
So I'm going to I'll to go along. But just getting out there. But, so Joe, basically I want to get you on here because we're going through a real cultural shift, and I'm feeling like the Discord, the WhatsApp of like mindset and manifestation. Every day I see 1111, I see 44, I see all these numbers coming through. And also a bit with psychedelics, a lot of people really opening up to Cambo, to ayahuasca. And you're the man for that. But when you're putting out the context comes from your narrative. So I kind of want to spin the community narrative to you and put questions to you from the community.
Yeah.
So I want to go down that route, and I think a lot of people take value from it. And we have a new course coming out soon, which is going to be fucking huge. We've just had to open a WhatsApp group for mindset because it was just too hectic in the Discord, and people were asking for it every day. People joined, so can I join the mindset group? We didn't have one, so actually we had to put one there. So we're going through a really cool shift of mindset, manifestation, law of attraction. So basically that's the angle I want to go down this one, if that's cool with you. And also a little bit about your story. I know you did a video in the mindset course and the old one, basically going through a really, really cool story about your whole past and basically your route of how you got to where you are. If you haven't seen that, I think it's still up on the course. I don't think we'll take that one down. I think it's a really impactful video. So if you haven't seen that, then please check it out. But if you haven't, we'll dive into that as well. So from your perspective, Joe, because mindset's something we all self-develop ourselves, we all read books. How did your journey kind of start into mindset? Is it something you enjoy? It's something you think you need to do?
Everybody needs to do it. That's the reality of it. Well, if you want to get better, if you want your standard of living to improve, if you want your environment to shift, if you want everything to be better, you want to be more successful in any respect, you have to get better. The reality is your environment is as good as who you are as a human being. At least over time. Don't get me wrong, we all get shit started here and there, but over time, statistically speaking, if you continue to better yourself, your environment's going to change, the people you're around are going to change, and your results are going to change.
I read a book, Napoleon Hill, I can't remember what it's called, one of his first ones. I read
Think and Grow Rich.
That's the one. I read that at 12, 13 years old, and I truly believe, because I read it, I didn't even know what it was, and I reread it at 17, 18, I've reread it previously, and I really believe that's a massive part of my journey, is that book. I was reading, I didn't know what the fuck it was. I was thinking, how can you think and attract things into your life and all that kind of stuff? And at 12, 13, you think it's a little bit of fluff. But when you're 15, 16, and then money starts coming and flowing, you start looking back, you're thinking about the book, and you always relate back to it. I start thinking, that's fucking wild. Law of attraction is something that's, obviously we have a money master manifestation coach in Victoria. Law of attraction is something we have massively in the groups. Everyone's always saying journaling, writing stuff down, etc., etc. What's your kind of opinion on law of attraction? Do you think it's real? Because there's two sides to it. A lot of people think it's fluff and you got to work hard and all that. I believe that you have to work hard, but you can also attract things into your life. I believe in energy and all that kind of stuff as well. So what's your kind of take on law of attraction?
Yeah, there's a couple of pieces to that. Okay, I'll start with the Napoleon Hill thing because it's quite funny, because I actually think back on it, it's probably one of the first things I ever looked at. I must have been about 18 years old, and I remember listening to the audiobook on YouTube, because obviously the title was what attracted me. I was broke and I wanted to make money. I was like, well, damn straight, I want to think about it and get paid. So I remember listening to that. It's actually quite funny. I watched a documentary recently though. He was actually a fraudster. The guy that actually wrote that, apparently so. Don't hold me to this, but apparently he was involved in loads of fraudulent scams over the years, and the whole book was just like another taking advantage of people that wanted to believe in something that's good, like manifesting things, which is I don't want that to be a full representation of manifestation and law of attraction, but it was just kind of funny to see that. But I guess ultimately, who gives a shit ultimately? Because I know that book impacted my life, and it's obviously impacted yours. The fact that we're having this conversation, and it's probably impacted countless other people. It's such a famous book, right? So whether it was a fraudster or not, don't judge the man by his past. If it's had a positive impact, that's good. In terms of law of attraction, look, so the secret is kind of where it really got some traction.
You hear that book, don't you?
Oh, I fucking hate that book, man. And
the principles are good. I agree. I'm reading it and cringe. I didn't finish the book. It's cringy shit. Oh. But the principles behind it do matter. But the way they describe it and the way that it's written is probably not in the best form. It's easy to digest, though.
It doesn't help that a few of those actually went to jail and stuff for fraud as well. Like a couple of guys in it, yeah. So you got your kind of like standard guru here that just thought, how are we going to monetize this shit? And they did all right at it, but. Look, the reality is, the book, not a big fan of it. Some of the principles in it, absolutely, they're based on reality. There's even scientific evidence to support like the level of vibration you're at, how that attracts things into your life. Believe all of that on a certain level. I think where I lose it for me, it's when it just starts going down a bit of a silly route, when it's just like imagining things and they're just going to happen. Look, if you focus your attention on something, you're more likely to attract it into your life. If you're focusing on negative thoughts, definitely more likely to attract negative things. If you're focusing on positive things, you're going to see more positive things in your environment, right? The confirmation bias is a real thing. For anyone that doesn't understand confirmation bias, it's just like, it's a psychological phenomenon where we pay attention to, we only take notice of the things that we already believe to be true. So if I believe Donald Trump's amazing, I'm going to look for information that confirms Donald Trump's amazing. I'm going to ignore any information that says the contrary. So just that alone, in the context of the law of attraction, is very valuable, right? I'm focusing on these amazing things. I'm looking about where I can make money rather than where I'm going to lose it. You're being solution orientated rather than problem orientated. So that alone is powerful. The issue for me is when it just goes down this really kind of non-accountability route where people think that you can just manifest stuff and sit there and not take any action. And I think that's where it grinds
on me. That grinds on me. I see people doing all this stuff on Instagram, sharing quotes and all that, but I know deep down they're not putting in the work. And it's like, that'd be a false mindset, I guess it would be, right? And it grinds on me because I see people just wishing they can bring things into life like about putting the work in. That kind of pisses me off. And I'm like, nah, you aren't going to make it. You're not cut out for it.
It's like spiritual tourism, basically. It's like this, and they're kind of the people that are being taken advantage of to a certain extent, because there's people out there that are kind of pretending they know what the fuck they're talking about, and they're just saying, yeah, just imagine it and it's all going to be all right and you're going to get the life you want. It's like, no, you don't really have, you're not really qualified to say that. And it's often coming from people who haven't really done shit either. So it's like, why the fuck am I listening to you in the first place? And then I think it's actually dangerous for people because they fall into this trap of the spiritual tourist who's constantly consuming all of this information that isn't necessarily grounded in anything real, and they actually lose the real world opportunities that are out there. That's where it kind of gets on my tits a little bit. But on the whole, there's huge power in the principles. So that's kind of my point of view.
Perfect. When I look back through my life, I've had a great life, I've had a very interesting life. I've got everything I could ever wish for.
You had a great night.
In terms of lifestyle, so far so good. I believe I manifested money. I believe I manifested the current lifestyle. It's something I've thought about since a young age. Not obsessed with money, but I do love having money. Money's a tool. Do you believe you ever manifest anything into your life? Do you think you've got something now and you think that's through manifestation, something you've thought about over time and it's actually now a physical thing or anything like that?
Absolutely. I mean, I also live a fucking great life. I mean, we built pretty cool lives with the principles that we teach at the Lifestyle Lab, right? Sure. And all of that has come about by deliberate action. It's also come about by seeing it, visualizing it, and then bringing it into reality. But it's also about taking the action steps that actually allow that to come into your life, you know? And there's different action steps you can take. Like I can sit there, I can create a vision board. I can write down my goals, you know? I can actually focus on these things, you know, all like the strategic type ways of doing it. But you can also sit there and genuinely visualize and go into the feeling of having the things that you want in your life. And that can structurally change your brain into you becoming the person that gets the things that you want. So there's two sides of that coin. I definitely believe that I've manifested a hell of a lot of amazing things that I have in my life.
Sick. We're going for a cultural shift. I know for a fact because 2017, my first WhatsApp group, people would mention law of attraction, would ask me, do I believe in law of attraction? I would say, yeah. And people like, shot, as if you believe in that. Like, I'm so happy you believe in that as well. But it's 3 or 4, 5, 6 people at a time. Now it's everybody's into this kind of law of attraction, etc. Where do you think that's coming from? What do you think's driving that right now? Is it social media? Is it more content? Is it better books? Are we getting better educated? What do you think that is?
I think there's a big cultural shift happening in general. I think celebrities have started to speak out about it more. I think that definitely helps. Successful people,
cool, right?
Yeah, successful people have started talking about manifesting their realities. So that's always going to have a big influence. And then I also think there's a big shift going on where it's becoming cool and to actually look into self-development and want to better yourself. I think back in the day, it was kind of like, I remember some of my friends would laugh when I said I was reading psychology books. They thought it was ridiculous. And I was like, I always remember just having the point of view, like, why is it ridiculous to want to have a better understanding of how human beings work? I was like, every day I interact with human beings. Why would I not want to be better in those interactions? Surely that would yield better results in my day-to-day life. And I think everybody's just kind of moving in that direction now where it's becoming a little bit more cool to better yourself. So.
You read a lot. I read a lot too. I'm trying to think manifestation-wise. Is there any standout books from your side that helps with that? Would you go deeper than manifestation? Would you go back to actual human behavior and psychology? Where would you start if you're just entering the space of mindset, manifestation, self-development? Where would you begin with that? It's such a huge open topic. I know we have a lot of people, Tiago, Josh Richards in the groups, and they're deep. They're in some really niche, cool shit, like biohacking, etc., etc. Would you recommend someone just to pick up the secret book and begin there, or you don't like it, or would you recommend picking a topic that they enjoy studying that? Where would you advise someone to begin their self-development journey?
I'd advise going nowhere near the fucking secret. It's
far away from
just
that, yeah.
Fuck that. Just no. There's other people writing about these principles in a far more intellectual and real way, written by more credible people. I mean, Victoria Maskell, as an example, she's written her own book on money manifestation. Great book. I'd actually recommend starting there.
Yeah, okay, we have 10 to give away.
Yeah, exactly. So we've got 10 of those to give away.
We'll do something in the comments of this giveaway and to give 10 away.
There we go. We'll do that, 100%. I would say that would be a great place to start if you're looking at going down the law of attraction, money manifestation route. Whether or not Napoleon Hill was a scammer or not, that book gave me huge value and had huge impact on my life and many others. So I definitely recommend looking at that.
He had the 100 most successful people at a time interviewed, right? And he took all the foundings and put it together into his own.
Apparently
foundings. Is that not true?
Apparently not.
Really?
I only found this out like a couple of weeks ago watching this documentary. So again, I don't know how true the documentary was, but apparently he made up some of these things, and some of the guys he said he speak to apparently didn't. But
some of them quotes are pretty wild though. Even now they're relatable. Some of them quotes hit. I've got a book. It's just literally just his favorite quotes, and I just read through sometimes and just highlight them. It's the fucking empire.
100%. It was a powerful book for me for sure. And I think in terms of saying where people should start, I have to go back to the biological realities of being a human being. I think so. You obviously mentioned biohacking, for example. An example with this would be, look, it's very difficult to be positive. If your body's fucked up and you're in a lot of pain, or you're sick,
it, right?
It's not easy to be really positive.
For sure.
Like if you've had corona and you're sat there dying of corona for a couple of weeks, it's not really easy to be particularly positive. It's probably not very easy to be productive at work, etc., etc. So there's a reality to feeling sick and not being healthy within your body. And there are some very simple principles that you can apply that improve your chances of feeling better in your body. You know, eating right, getting an adequate amount of sleep, getting an adequate amount of sunlight, you know, drinking enough water, you know, getting the right nutrients into your body. All of these things.
It's another cultural shift we're going through now. People just fucking their bodies, aren't they? We're eating shit, we're partying, we're drinking. You know, it's so hard to be consistent. That's why I shout to you. You've been sober, for 6 months now? 5 months is it? You're going to be sober? I know you're not going that for long term, but you're just repairing your body and getting right at it, which is fucking great. But when you do that, how hard is that to do? Because you love a drink and a beer morning. I actually bought Joe a beer a couple of months ago when I met him for the first time. It's there on the table waiting for him. I say, I got your beer, bro. He's like, I fucking love to, but I can't. I got nothing but respect for that. If I didn't drink, probably, I think I did 60 days recently. That was all right. Could continue more, but I feel like again in our culture, people just fucking their bodies, right? Just eating shit. Like,
sure.
What do you think that's down to? Again, is that down to like shit like Geordie Shore that came out, Jersey Shore? People just like watching that and just going out and drinking and made it normal, right?
I actually think the reason people take substances and any type of stimulant is because they're trying to avoid a feeling that they have and replace it with a different feeling. So I'll use myself as an example before I talk about other people. So the reason I'm doing the sobriety thing is because So when I went on this crazy world tour which we'll get into, I was fucked. My biggest habit is that I overwork and I just keep going and going and going. And I'll do that to the point that my body gets fucked. So bearing in mind, I'm going out networking. So I'm drinking at these networking events. Then I'm tired the next day and I'm smashing coffee. I'm drinking the coffee to suppress the fact that I feel fucked and tired, which then means I ignore how my body actually feels. And as a result, I push my body too hard and don't take care of myself, right? And then I eventually burn myself out.
You're aware of that though. 99% of people are not aware they're doing that, right?
Precisely. So this is a biological example of what I'm saying. When we're talking about self-development, right? There's a biological reality to the fact that if I keep smashing coffee on a daily basis, ignoring the fact I'm tired, I'm never going to get the sleep I need. I'm never going to be fully recovered and I'm never going to be at my best. Just a simple reality. It doesn't matter how much self-development I do if my body's fucked, right? And I think now what happens so that's just like the example of me. So just to give context, I decided to take no stimulants for 6 months. No coffee, no alcohol, no smoking weed. I definitely smoked a bit of weed when I was in the US. But it's to just get a level of equilibrium and get used to being in my body and actually listening to what it is that I need, what sleep cycles work for me, and really attune to how my body functions. Because we're all different in terms of like the level of sleep we need, the sleep patterns that we like, the type of diet that suits us best. It's really difficult to listen to your body when you're masking it with other things. So that's why I chose to do that. And then going on to other people, I feel like young people specifically. So for example, a lot of people drink because they have social anxiety. They feel anxious, therefore they want to get rid of that feeling and replace it with the feeling of being the life and soul of the party by being drunk.
99% of people as well.
Yeah, everyone. I've had it myself. I used to get social anxiety.
Meet like a big group of people. We did a meet up in Amsterdam. 20 people, they're all waiting. I'm like, yo, let me have a couple of beers before I go meet them, just so I'm on a level, you know. So I can
you feel loose.
I'm a confident person. But again, just takes the edge off things, right? 100%.
I'm a confident person, but I would still go into certain environments for whatever reason, even if you're feeling low. Like maybe you feel a bit tired that day. Like an example, like I'm used to being quite bubbly, quite fun, having a laugh. If I feel tired, I'm like, oh, I'm not going to be that fun today. Then maybe I'd want to have a couple of drinks just to kind of be that person again, you know, because that's who I think I am. So I think there's so many, especially young people, they don't even know who they are. I didn't when I was 18 years. I was fucking confused as shit, same as everybody else.
People play to personalities too, right? We have a guy who, when he's drunk, he's the best. He's like the most funniest person there. He's a fucking idiot. But he'll just then get on that level every time. I don't think he knows he's doing it, but he'll just drink till he's passed out drunk. No. We all found it funny at university, but he's probably fucking his body even further, you know, psychologically and physically.
Yeah, and I think so. You definitely fucking yourself up physically, and then the psychological piece, it becomes like a crutch as well. And so I don't want to be. It's part of my development journey. I want to be who I am irrespective of the circumstances. I don't want to need alcohol to have fun. I don't want to need coffee to be focused and work hard. You know, I don't want to smoke weed to need to be creative. I want to be able to tap into those states organically.
When you want to.
Yeah, exactly that.
Moving on into, this is a fucking big topic, is psychedelics.
Cool.
It's getting big. I've taken mushrooms socially, probably overdosed on mushrooms. I took the wrong amount.
We've all done that.
Crazy fun trips. Great fun. Like, it opens up parts of your brain you never knew you had. You have these thoughts, you have these feelings. For me, when I'm stimulated, this is probably with alcohol and with stuff like this, is I have my best ideas. I've become more creative, which is crazy. I listened to a Joe Rogan and Post Malone podcast, and they were both saying that when they're stimulated, they have the best ideas. They write the music more. Joe Rogan said he has the better quotes, he has stuff like that. Microdosing mushrooms, something I tried. I don't think I took the right amount. I think I took too little because I didn't really get any effects from it. So have you ever tried microdosing mushrooms? Is that something you've done? How did you get into that? Was that something, because for me, I took socially a mushroom shake just to get fucked up. And I microdose it down, cut it down. How did you get into it, and any benefits from your side?
Yeah, loads. So I've never actually microdosed. There's an amazing guy called Paul Stamets, by the way. I highly recommend checking out if you're interested in microdosing. He gives like different protocols on how to do it. It's definitely something I've been interested in doing. Scott, do us a favour, mate, and turn your phone off. Do you know what I mean? Fucking hell. Scott's been out drinking that long. He doesn't know his fucking arse from his elbow, does he? Jesus Christ. Yeah, so never done any microdosing, but I've definitely done more than my fair share of pretty intense mushroom trips. So the first time I ever did it was actually with my jiu-jitsu coach.
Right.
So I was in the UK, and in the UK you have like liberty caps that grow, right? And there's a particular time of year, it's usually when the first frost lands, usually around September time, that if you go looking, hunting around cow shit, you're going to find yourself some liberty caps. Right. Not fun to do, but once you're in a couple of hours in, it gets a little bit more fun. And I was always really interested in it from the spiritual side of things. I was interested in the introspective side, the creativity side. Obviously, I was into developing myself from quite an early age, and most of the exposure I'd had to mushrooms always around it being an amazing tool. So that's what interested me. So on this particular occasion, we took a bunch of mushrooms. Unfortunately, they kicked in while I was driving. We took the mushrooms for it. I was like, are we going to be all right before I get there? And he was like, yeah, you got plenty of time. Then we got stuck at the train gates, and I was just sat there. All of a sudden, I was just like, this isn't good. This isn't good. This isn't good. Jack was just like, I'm fucked. I was like, no. So luckily, we managed to make it there under the influence perfectly safely. Nobody died.
Journey.
Yeah, nobody died in that. Yeah, we had a little journey before the journey, and then we got there, and then we just went walking around the woods and just spoke about like the Fibonacci sequence and literally everything.
Well, setting's so important in this, right? Because the first time I did it, I was like in a locked-in villa, like a compound. It was pretty fucking trippy. I was going a bit neggy. Second time I did it with a guy who was really fucking good. He actually grew his own mushrooms in Jamaica. He come round, he said, take me some hot tea. Took me some hot tea, so kicking in 5-10 minutes. So here we fucking go. And to stand up, so like, right, fucking hit me. And he's recommended just going outdoors and laying down. Like, don't be like when you go to the bathroom, make sure you're out straight away. Just don't be in these locked, confined spaces. And I was in the nature looking up at the stars. And I think this is fucking insane. Much better than the first trip because of the settings and the scenery. Yeah. You know, so how does that improve? So you was walking in the jungle. What's going on? Like, what's the experience for you?
You're just able to connect with things in a completely different way. Like everything's in HD. Right? Like you connect with nature. You're more empathetic. You have a deeper appreciation for the beauty that nature is. You know,
sensor enhanced, right? Your hearing's going crazy. You're sensitive to everything, right? Is that what that does?
Yeah. So I mean, they've done different like scans on it, and it completely lights up different parts of your brain. Your brain goes into literal overdrive. You're actually able to form like different neural connections. So like a really cool example of this is they did studies on people with depression, and they found that a big dose of mushrooms would actually alleviate the symptoms of depression for up to 3 months afterwards. And one of the reasons for this, or at least one of the reasons it's suggested, is because it gives you such a different perspective on things. And depression, I don't know if anybody's suffered with it, it's something I suffered with greatly. When you're depressed, everything's shit. You suffer, like depression
you see the worst in everything, right? Even if it's beautiful, you still see the worst.
Exactly. Right? Yeah. Depression is essentially like this dark lens through which you view the world, which everything looks terrible through. And when you're on mushrooms, it completely turns that on its head, and everything's more beautiful, everything's enhanced in like a more positive way.
More grateful as well, right?
Absolutely.
Everything. I was like, this tree's beautiful. What the fuck's going on? Like,
exactly
why am
that.
I thinking that? You know.
Exactly that. So, but with that additional layer of sensitivity, you become more sensitive to the other stimulus and other things in your environment. So, say for example, this is why they say you got to be around good people. It's because if you're around someone's, we've all been around that guy who gets a little bit drunk, gets a little bit weird, right? Scott. But we've all been around like those people. Like they're a bit different or whatever. You can't like they get a bit volatile or whatever it is. But you become more sensitive to that when you're on mushrooms. You become so hyper aware of it. You feel it. Even before something happens, you're like, oh, this guy's a little bit sketchy. This guy's a little bit paranoid. And because you're sensitive to it, it affects your experience as well. Now, this happens on a daily basis, irrespective of mushrooms or not. Your energy affects my energy. Lewis's affects mine. Scott's affects mine.
It's a direct impact, right?
We all affect each other. It's for the example of this that I always try and use is, if a couple's had an argument, you walk into the room, nobody says shit, but you can tangibly, you can feel the atmosphere in the room. That's because you can feel the energy of other people and where they're at, right? So all that happens is when you're under the influence of psychedelics, you're so much more sensitive to all this. And because most people aren't aware of that, when they are under that influence of psychedelics, it influences them to a bigger degree,
so basically I want to loop round to ayahuasca and Cambo. I want to basically go back to your story on the world, because you was in a great space in Bali around, when did you leave? It was around 6-7 months
October,
ago.
I think.
You was in a great space last summer, and I was fucked up. I was in like Turks and Caicos, I was in Bahamas, I was partying, I was going crazy. you boys had to pull me in. You boys had to basically say, come on, what the fuck you doing? You're having too much fun kind of thing, really. And I'd take a week off, get some
I have nothing against fun, just not...
For sure, not 3 months
fun's
every day, fucking getting rowdy. So anyway, so then I pulled back in, I started grafting, doing some fucking great stuff, being really creative. And then you kind of delved off into Dubai to begin, right, for like a crypto meeting with Unix, all that kind of stuff, which was great for you as a personal challenge to go meet these people and raise all this money and have a really successful project going on. But then you kind of went off and did a me. You was drinking, you was a little bit AWOL on the meetings where Joe would be on every meeting. He just wouldn't communicate. It's very unlike Joe. And again, we had to pull you in, this kind of thing. So you want to basically go through your trip around the world and basically where did you go, what did you do, and how it fucks you up. Because I traveled 3 years straight, and I didn't realize how much it fucks you. As in, like, I got a 6 o'clock morning flight. I'm waking up at 4 a.m. I've been drinking the night before, so I didn't get to bed till 2, and the next day this thing just lags on. It really fucks you up. And you get to the hotel, all you want to do is check in. People are being nice, hey, smile because you're arriving, and just got like a face like fun like I have now, hungover. But it just fucking continues, and then you need self-awareness. You say, right, I need to stop fucking doing this. I need to find the balance, which is where you are now. I think it's why you're doing this sobriety thing as well, 100%. Right? So yeah, you want to basically kick off and basically where did you go, what did you do, and your emotions through it all.
Yeah, so I'd been in Bali for a couple of years, obviously, where Corona kicked in, ended up staying here because it made sense. I had the choice. I could have gone back to the UK and sat there in lockdown, or I could sit here with a beautiful villa next to the pool. Pretty easy decision to make. And then I obviously got involved in Unix. For anybody that doesn't know, we create one of the biggest play-to-earn communities in the world. We've got a community of over 200,000 people. We basically help people in developing countries play-to-earn games.
It's a fucking epic project.
It's madness. It's madness. So,
do you want to dive in real quick on that for like 10, 20 seconds? What play-to-earn is? I think it's a really fucking... That's another culture thing that's coming. That's going to be huge.
Huge. So basically...
was the first one, right?
So,
one of the first.
Yeah, the mechanics of play-to-earn are the same as conventional games. Imagine you've got a player... You upgrade your player, you win experience points in the game, you level your character up, right? The difference is now in crypto, the player itself is an NFT, therefore it has scarcity, therefore it has a monetary value. And that character that plays in the game, it can still level up. And when you rather than winning experience points, you're actually winning the underlying crypto token, which of course has a monetary value. So what that actually means is people are now earning... They have NFTs that are going up in value because they're becoming more rare, more advanced, and then you're winning a token in-game, which then can be exchanged for US dollars, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever you want, right? And what happened is there was a big game called Axie Infinity. So they were the first one to really blow up, and they created what's called a scholarship program. And what this meant was that the NFTs to play the game, the Axies, imagine as little Pokemon, right? They would cost about $2,000 at the time for a good team. Now, the people that are playing the game were in developing countries like the Philippines. The average wage is $200. They can't afford them. So Axie Infinity created a scholarship model, which allowed somebody with the funds to buy the NFTs, the Axies, and then rent them to somebody in a developing country to play. So that's exactly what my business partners, Mirko and Eric, started doing. So they were buying these Axie teams, and then they were renting them out to people in the Philippines, doing a profit share. The people in the Philippines were earning crazy money, and they started earning really good money. And then it got to a certain point where it needed to scale. The only thing stopping them for creating more Axie teams and helping more people was more money. So they approached me. I ended up getting involved in it. We ended up creating Unix. We ended up building this massive community, raising a shit ton of money. Then it became this whole thing where we were going to create our own game, our own token, our own launch pad. Goes on forever. Long story short, I ended up flying out to Dubai to begin the raise for the token. I ended up raising $3 million personally, and then we ended up raising a total of 32 million. So that we did 10 million on like the private and seed. I did 3 mil of that. And then when we went to public sale, we then got up to 32 million in the end. So pretty wild. So that was about 5 months ago. That was in the 23rd of November.
3 million is a fuckload of money as well.
It's a bit
like, a couple of years ago, you never thought you could raise 3 million. It's like a standalone personal brand, right? Just talking to people, etc., etc.
Sure.
Back in the day, you had to go to university, you had to get fucking all these like documents signed, you had to be a banker in London, that kind of stuff. How crazy that you should raise 3 million from a personal brand, from a raw idea to an actual crypto project launch. If anyone's listening, I think Richard does a lot of play-to-earn gaming kind of thing. He's looking to raise money. It just gives you motivation, right? You can fucking raise 3 million like that. And I know you put a lot of work in. It's ridiculously hard to do, but it's fucking possible, right?
Yeah, I mean, we had great timing. We had an epic project. We had an epic team. We got the right advisors in. We got some of the best people in the game, excuse the pun, to get involved in the project. And yeah, we put in a lot of graft, man. And like one thing that kind of shone through is like, I pride myself on being able to communicate with people effectively. And I'm also very open and honest about my expectations. Well. Appreciate that, bro.
No, you are.
And yeah, I just connected with the right people, and people realized that I was pitching something really good, and they knew it was going to be worthwhile, and they wanted to get involved. And it turns out so far so good. It looked like a pretty good investment for everyone involved.
And you was in Dubai. We was going for a rebrand, and we used to be called Platinum University for those newer members. It was something we kind of threw together just to launch the business, to just get it off the ground. We were stuck for names initially. But we didn't want to start that launching, so we said, fuck it, we'll call it Platinum University. It stuck, it was good, it was great. The branding was pretty dull. If I know people love PU, I love PU, but the branding was pretty dull. So we had to go for, as we had more and more success stories, people flying out in Dubai and fucking Thailand and Bali, whatever it may be. It was our content was going more from education to a split between success stories and lifestyle and education, right? So we said we have to rebrand this something like lifestyle, whatever. You had the idea of lifestyle lab, we actually come with that. So we was going through all that fucking thing, which was crazy. That was a huge job. I don't think people realise the whole branding colour scheme. That's like a 3-hour interview to get all that. You don't just like go and paint and pick colours. Like we was getting questions about our tone, like what we say, like how we talk to each other. It's a whole fucking project, right? So we was doing all that. You was doing Unix as well in Dubai. You were stressful. You got a girlfriend over here as well. I think was she in Bali, Australia at the time as well? She was trying to manage. I always tell people you'll never have a perfect balance between health, business and relationship. One has to give at some stage, and the other one you pick back up later on. You never get free aligned perfectly. It's impossible. So don't put too much pressure on yourself out there. If you think, oh, my relationship's failing a little bit, but my business booming, it'll always pick back up and spin around. Just have the awareness for that.
Ain't that the truth?
And then from there, you kind of went back home to see your dad for a little while. Was it from Dubai back to England? Was it a little bit? You did the meet up in Manchester with the gang?
Jesus. So back to Dubai. So raised a load of money there. That was cool. And then from there, I went to the UK. So I hadn't been to the UK in 3 years. Right. So we were obviously doing a lifestyle lab event there, which was pretty sick.
5 years now.
That was sick. Yeah, keep it going, mate. Keep it going. Just fly your mum out. That's what I recommend.
I do, man.
Get her out. Yeah. So we ended up going out there. I got to the UK and then I went down south to catch up with a bunch of my old mates who I hadn't seen for a long time. So caught up with a bunch of people, went and caught up with my dad. So me and my dad have became quite close over the last 5-6 years. So I caught up with him, went and saw my little brother. I've got a half brother as well. Spent a bit of time there. And then from there, I flew to Scotland to go see my mum. My mum, me and her have had a bit of a rocky relationship over the years, but we built some bridges while I was away. I did a lot of growth my end. I had to forgive a lot of stuff. I grew up quite an angry kid. So that was kind of a big barrier between me having a relationship with my mum. So I'd moved a lot of stuff due to a lot of the fucking deep work that I've done. Some of it to do with psychedelics for sure. And went up there to reconnect with her and just actually spend some time with her. I haven't stayed with my mum for more than a lunch since I was 17 years old. Just to give it some context, since I ran away basically from home when I was 17. So I thought, okay, it's a good opportunity. So we went out, we connected. Then from Scotland, I flew to Manchester for the Lifestyle Lab meetup. That was wild. I was already in this whirlwind.
So we had a cool gang there.
Oh,
that was sick. And I was like,
that was so sick. It was like 45 people showed up in the end. It was just mad.
Michael, a few mentors, Henry.
Yeah, it was unbelievable.
Fucking sick time.
Got a bit messy on that one. So bearing in mind, I don't really drink that much.
But when you do, you go indoors.
But when I do, every now and then I go for it, yeah. So I got there. So basically what happened was, just to give some context, I fly in, I land in Manchester, I go straight from the airport, straight to the hotel. I get to the hotel, you've got people that have been working for us for 18 months. I've never met them in person. Like, we've built an amazing relationship. Yeah. Like, and our culture, the Lifestyle Lab, is second to none. Like, the love, the support, unbelievable, right? There's just so much love there. So I go and meet these people I've never met, that I've been communicating with for so long. I walk straight through the door. They're already in the lobby waiting for me, drinking. As soon as I walk in, Craig's gone and got me a beer. And then we were off. So we just ended up kept drinking, catching up, like all loves and laughs. And then, we ended up just getting hammered. Got proper hammered. Megan, you are a nightmare. Megan, Meganos.
Savage.
Nightmare, you're a savage. Anyway, so we ended up getting pissed up. We ended up going back into my hotel room, like all of us. Me, Michael, Craig, Megan, Sherelle. Yeah, thanks for that, Megan. Nice one. So the whole crew's there, we're drinking. We end up getting a little bit fucked up. And then because I was flying to Dubai again, the day after the event, I needed to get a PCR test first thing in the morning. And I remember turning around to Megan and I was just like, right, I need to go to bed for a few hours, just get a few hours kit, get up, do my PCR test. She's like, a few hours? She's like, you got 35 minutes, Joe. I looked at the time and it was like fucking 6 a.m. I was like, oh my fucking God. It's like, everyone get the fuck out of my room. Get out, get the fuck out.
Lights, come on.
Yeah. And I was like, I lie there.
Sunrise coming up.
I did 30 minutes, woke up and ate the cold bit of KFC that Sherelle had left in my room. And I was like, what the fuck's happened to me? I thought these days are behind me. I'm disgusting. Hating my life.
I love culture.
Oh, God, yeah. It brings back some horrible memories. Yeah. So then I ended up going straight to this PCR place. I was down there for about 45 minutes, a massive palaver. Got down to the event. I was, of course, my initial plan was just to freestyle a talk.
You were going to host it, right?
Oh, I was going to like host it, do a bit of a talk. I was fucked. I was white as a sheet. I was like, hi guys, lovely to have you all here. It's an absolute honour to finally meet you all in person. Anyway, I'm going to pass over to Michael, who's going to talk to you about dropshipping. Anyway, goodbye. And I just went and sat at the back for a little while and then went and had a 2-hour nap around lunchtime.
Mushrooms, right? People eating mushrooms.
Oh, God, yeah, some people. Yeah, some of my community members get a little bit lively. It's very professional most of the time, but every now and then it goes a little bit offhand. Yeah. But yeah, so that was a mad event. Absolutely cool. And then obviously everyone was going out afterwards. So I went out. I ended up like flaking out at about midnight. I had nothing left.
You only do one night now, can't you?
I'd already burnt myself out in Dubai going to all these networking events and running around like it was everything. I was basically running on like cortisol, adrenaline, and fucking like it was just and dopamine. You know,
but the business was popping as well. Wasn't it? The business was so energetic. We had so much like momentum then with the rebrand and all that kind of shit. We had the logo coming through. It was an exciting time to be around, wasn't it?
It's flying.
And using Dubai, and you did a little bit more in Dubai with Unix, that kind of stuff, right? And I remember I called you. I said, "Where you at, Joe?" So I'm in fucking Antalya or in Turkey, right?
Oh,
well, Joe's like the guy. Like, I'm the guy you call, and you don't know why I'm which country. I mean, you was the guy for a little while. I was like, "Why the hell are you in Turkey?" He's like, I just want to a massage. You know?
I had a plan. Yeah. So this was my plan, right? So I went back to Dubai. So the original plan from Dubai was I was going to fly to the Philippines to do a massive event in the Philippines for the launch of the token. We spent
crypto event, right?
Yeah, we spent like 20 grand on this venue and like this big dance show with all the Filipinos like loving it. It's a mad community out there that we've got a part of Unix. I was going to try and get into the country. Long story short, they wouldn't let me in.
You still can't now.
Yeah, you still can't get in now. So didn't have the right visa. It just wouldn't happen because of Corona, right? So I thought, fuck this. It was all some manic thing trying to make it happen last minute. And then I was like, I'm done. I was like, I just need to go and relax. I'm burnt out. I'm fucked. So I thought, where can I go that's just cheap, really good? Because I've done my balls in fucking... I literally done my bollocks in Dubai, as you do, always. And I thought I just want somewhere cheap, high quality, where I can just stay in a spa that's just quiet. So I thought, right, I'm going to go to Antalya in Turkey because I remember you boys went there. Yeah, I was like, all right, and you rated it. So I thought, let's do that. I landed there. I was there for 2 days, ready to spend a week there. And I got a call from the Unix boys saying there's a crypto event in Miami. Can you get there? And I was just like...
Fuck, here we go again.
Off we go. Let's get it. So I ended up jumping on the flight, going out to Miami, go to this massive event. I literally arrived there on the day of the event, got changed in the toilet, washed myself up, went straight to the event, and then carried on networking, meeting with different games and all the rest of it in the crypto space. And then from there, I died for 48 hours. And then one of my best mates, Charlie Gilbert from back home, was flying into Miami.
Where it gets messy, right?
Yeah, this is where it goes a little bit tits up. So by this point, I'm already frazzled, completely frazzled. He's arriving. He's gone, Joe, I'm in Miami for this week. Let's catch up. And we both said beforehand, we're not going to drink. We're not going back to old times.
We'll have 1 or 2.
We're not going to do that. We'll just have a little catch up. We'll go get a bit of dinner. I was fucked. And so I think he just called me. He was like, Joe, I'm in the hotel bar. I've had 4 G&Ts. He's like, what are you saying? And I was just like... I'll have a couple of G&Ts. Let's do it.
Have one, right?
Yeah. I'd already fucked everything up. My life was already a shit show. I thought I might as well just carry on. So I ended up going there. We ended up getting smashed. And then I think like 2 days later, I ended up getting smashed again. We went down to the pool. So the whole idea was that we were just going to sit by the pool and recover. We had 2 beers, 3 beers, 4 beers, 7 beers, 5 strawberry daiquiris. And then before you know it, right? We're in this bar in our swimming shorts with a shisha and just like fucking just getting hammered. And I was like, after that, I was just in an absolute fucking shit show. It wasn't good.
And then from there, you went to LA from there, right?
And then from
there... Miami was a blowout for you.
Miami was a big boy blowout, yeah. It got out of hand. But
from there, you flew to LA.
And then I went to LA to go meet my missus. So my missus had been filming a TV show in Turks and Caicos.
You've given it away already. I think Turks and Caicos.
Turks and Caicos. A little bit too hot to handle. Just for clarity, she is not on the cast. I'm not going to be. I'm not planning on sitting there and watch someone rattle my missus or live on TV. Thank you. But no, she teaches obviously about relationships and sex workshops and relationship stuff. Right? Yeah, she's a coach, so she's there like helping support the guests, so to speak. Not and sexually.
You was waiting there in LA for her.
So
come through, and this is where you went and did ayahuasca, which one I'll lead into.
Yeah. So then I got to LA. Well, before all that happened, I need to completely recalibrate and sort my life out and fix my relationship because, as you can probably imagine, traveling all over the place,
answering calls, etc.
I was a nightmare.
Yeah, just not
and the
answering
time
calls
zones are shit. So you're dealing with time zones. You like, she was working different times. I was all over the fucking place. Then I was going out getting pissed. It's a recipe for disaster. Like, I didn't really show up. I wasn't a great boyfriend. Let's be totally honest.
That's what I struggled with in America was the time zones because I was waking up. England's like 6 a.m. You were like fucking 12 hours difference. It's really fucked short, doesn't it? And then it was your 10 in LA. It was your 10 till I'd be fucking out of sync. It's a nightmare. Trying to get hold of you, it's like plus 13 hours. We've got to do a call like 6 a.m., which is 7 p.m. It's just fucking nightmare. We've got to try and booking calls with partners, doing it 3, 4 a.m. It's a real hustle. It's a real hustle.
You've got like a 2-hour window between like 11 and like 1 a.m.
Yeah, where it just works for everyone.
Like, in the evening. And then like 6 a.m. to like 8 a.m. Like, so either way, your evening routine's fucked or your morning routine's fucked. And if you overwork like I do, I need that space. So I was just I was not able to manage myself in any particular way. So I was getting more and more frazzled and drinking more and more coffee and just more and more fucked, right? So, and then if you've got a business, 2 businesses and a girlfriend, and you've got to fit everything into 2 hours in the morning, 2 in the evening, it's a little bit of hard work.
For sure.
You know? So yeah, that was difficult, man. So then when I first got to LA, it was just about reconnecting my missus and kind of actually sorting things out there. Yeah, getting back on track because there was a lot of shit to sort out. And then after that, it was just like really kind of recalibrating my nervous system. So like just eating really healthily. We got like a really nice Airbnb, which had like a sauna in it and like a cold plunge. So I was just looking after myself, eating healthy and just kind of completely recovering, you know, that was kind of the goal there.
And then you did ayahuasca over in LA.
So yeah, getting onto that. So while I was out there, it was my birthday on the 4th of January and my missus, she's set ayahuasca many, many times. She serves Cambo, which is like another thing we can discuss as well. I'll give some context to that. So Cambo is a frog poison. It's native to the Amazon. And basically what it is, it's a warrior medicine. It's used as a rite of passage for young men in the Amazon. It supposedly turns boys into men. And the way it works is to apply it, you burn a stick, you scratch the top layer of skin off, and then you apply the Cambo to your body.
Does it matter where you apply? So I met a girl last night. She did it she had like 4 dots on her ankle. Does it matter where you apply? Is that like a preference thing? Or?
Yeah, I mean, it's meant to be linked up to the different energy centers in your body, like your chakras, and obviously chakras are like built around different parts of the human experience and different energy centers. And yeah, so I've sat Cambo about 6 times. The
first time you told me that, I was like, what the fuck are you doing? Joe's like, I can't do a call to man fucking doing toad poison. The fuck's going on in my head? I don't know the weird place. But I just started research and I've never done it. I would 100% do it. But yeah, so start with ayahuasca. So did you plan to do that? Was that something you thought would help the relationship? Like, how did that come around?
Okay, so firstly, Cambo is often used before ayahuasca. So it's a way of cleansing your body. So it's commonly used. Sometimes you sit Cambo and then you'll go on to do ayahuasca in the Amazon. That wasn't how things work for me, but that's just to give some context to how it's often used. And then, so I've wanted to sit ayahuasca since I was about 21 years old. I remember watching documentaries on it when I was a kid. I closely followed a psychologist called Gabor Mate, and he works with patients who have really deep trauma and struggle with addiction. So he relates all problems with addiction to actually being trauma early in life. And addiction is essentially the solution to the problem, in the sense that we suffer trauma, it brings up certain feelings in our body, and then we use different sedatives and different substances to numb those feelings, and that's what then leads on to addiction. And I was really interested in that, and as somebody that had a pretty turbulent upbringing, to say the least, yeah, I had my own troubles with addiction for sure. It was something that greatly interested me, and I've got a lot of demons, and I knew from an early age that it was something very powerful that would be really useful for me. But it was also the type of thing, I've had opportunities to do it. Like I've had opportunities to do it here. I've had opportunities to do it all over the place, but it just didn't feel right. It's one of those things that calls you. It's not like you can just go and do it offhand, but I strongly advise against doing that. It's such a powerful medicine.
I touched on in Peru, and all my DMs are like, "You're gonna do ayahuasca? You're gonna do ayahuasca? You're gonna try ayahuasca?" I never heard of it, so I'll try anything one time. within limits. So I was in Peru, and I got out of the taxi, and I got in the taxi at the airport, and I thought it's something you buy, like a packet, or you sniff. I didn't know what it was. I'm
gonna do a bag of ayahuasca, right?
Yeah, I'm asking the taxi driver, can I get some ayahuasca? He's like, oh, ayahuasca. I said, yeah. He's like, oh, very far. So what do you mean very far? You know, anyway,
it's like, what are you talking about?
I'm going on the street. I'm in the club saying, you got any ayahuasca for sale? It's a true story. And people looking at me like, you fucking crazy, bro. I said, yo, let's do it. He said, you want to do it? I said, yeah. So you have to not eat for 2 days. I said, what the fuck is this stuff? What else ayahuasca? So yeah, I'm Googling.
Give me a bag of something else. I won't eat for 2 days anyway.
Well, I look alright, idiot. So yeah, basically my time in Peru was short. I would have loved something. Peru's a perfect place too, apparently so.
Yes.
Yeah, my time was short there. People saying you don't eat for 2 days. It's best to sit with a shaman, whatever it may be,
100%.
In the forest, etc., etc. I'm glad I didn't buy it off the taxi driver and do it myself. That would be a fucking nightmare, wouldn't it?
It does not work like that. Yeah, it definitely doesn't.
That's my ayahuasca story. Then you know what it is, and you start seeing it, and then you start hearing people talk about it, and it just piques interest. It's something I would 100% do. I know it's deep. I know you have to be ready for it. You have to be mentally ready, as you say.
Sure.
You don't wake up maybe you do wake up and decide to do it. It's something that calls you out, right? So you was in LA and you thought you'd never done it before, right? It's the first time.
Yeah, never done it. Felt called to it for a long time. The reason I hadn't done it is because it was such a big thing for me. My vision was to go to the Amazon, and I wanted to do it in the jungle. Right. I felt really strongly about that. But then Matilda's knows a lot of really amazing people in the medicine space. She reached out to some people, and she wanted to take me for my birthday. And it's a kind of funny story how it actually worked out. So she wanted to take me for my birthday, and she'd kind of already booked it. But then something cropped up where this guy who actually he served with the tribes, with the Yawanawa, which is a particular tribe, and he'd served with them for many years. So he would fly out to the Amazon, spend 6 months a year there with them, which, just to give context, there's a lot of people that call themselves shamans, for sure. And they're fucking not. Bali. They're just knobheads that are playing with stuff they shouldn't be playing with. For sure. So yeah, there's a direct lineage. So there's people that train to be a maestro. They train their whole life for generations. They're taught about this medicine. So yeah, it's kind of a bit of cultural appropriation there.
But who you do is super important, right? What you do is everything, right? It's make or break. It's if you have a good trip or you have a bad trip.
I wouldn't say necessarily good or bad, but it being contained, because it's similar. Again, you're so open in that space. You're so receptive to sensation and everything that's going on. If the person with you isn't aware of this and knows how to navigate this space very deeply, it can be really fucking dangerous. Really, really dangerous. There's people, you leave your body during this experience. So there's people that don't come back, and they sing you back in ceremony. That's how they do it. So if they don't really have a good understanding of how to bring you back to your body, you can have some serious consequences. For sure. So yeah, to kind of go back to that. So we thought, it just kind of came up. This guy happened to be coming to where we were. He had amazing reviews. Apparently he's a really beautiful musician, really, really good, fully in integrity. Because everyone's heard the stories of these guys getting a little bit mad with power and start touching chicks and
it's a thing.
Because they're so revered. Every guru in every space. It's a tough thing to navigate. A man with a lot of power. Women throw themselves at these guys because in the medicine, they're just these powerful fucking kings, So it takes a very strong man to be able to turn that down. And control themselves. So there's countless stories of things going a little bit wrong, same with every type of guru mentality, right? And anyway, so it came up, and it was really funny how it went down. So this is where we think we manifested something. This is probably a good example of it. So he lives in Joshua Tree, which is this beautiful place in the desert. But he was coming to this particular house in LA where we were at. And they were basically saying that you're going to sit within a group. There's going to be about 8 of you. And the way he described it was in this kind of corridor in somebody's house. And I was just kind of on the fence about it. I was like, I really want to do this, but is this what I want to do? I want to do it in the jungle. That was really how I felt about it. Yeah. And I was just like, I don't know. I was on the fence, and me and Matilda were speaking about it, but I was like, I'll stick with it. The day before it happened, he calls us up to basically say, everybody's dropped out. All 8 people, he's like, this never happens. 8 people have completely dropped out. He's like, would you be open to coming to Joshua Tree and coming to my house and doing it? And this, ironically, is where Matilda had planned to take me for my birthday to Joshua Tree, to this beautiful location. It's a stunning place in the desert. And it just kind of happened to come about. And I was like, absolutely. I was like, I'll drive 3 hours to Joshua Tree. Let's make it happen. So it ends up coming about. Everything kind of aligned perfectly.
How are you before? Like, you nervous? Are you scared? Are you Googling? Are you researching shit? Or are you just going there like open-minded, just whatever it is, it is?
What's that?
Yeah.
So basically I just put it on a key and I was just like, fucking that ayahuasca, mate, it's fucking great.
That's what I thought it was. So just for context, ayahuasca is 2 plants mixed together, right? It's like there's a billion plants in the Amazon rainforest, and these 2 specifically mixed together is ayahuasca, right?
Yeah, so the functional ingredient in it is DMT, dimethyltryptamine. In the Amazon, they mix it from a particular vine. But what happens is you have enzymes in your body that break down the DMT in your body, which means it doesn't have any psychedelic effects. So there's a particular leaf that they use that they mix with it that completely nullifies those enzymes in the body. So, I mean, it's just kind of, and to imagine with all the plants that exist to find that exact combination is quite interesting, right?
For sure.
So, and they tell you straight, they said the plants talk to us. The plants tell us this is the combination. They told us. So I'd love to find a different explanation of that for anybody that's skeptical.
Sure.
You fucking show me how you're going to find those 2 plants out of the billions that exist, mix them together and work out which one gives you a healing psychedelic trip.
I read that. That was wild. I read that.
Yeah.
That's fucking crazy.
So yeah.
So then you go there and you're doing it. Like, how was your trip? Because I was listening to a Megan Fox podcast, funny enough, a couple of days ago, and she did day 1, then she did day 2, and then she chose not to do day 3. And I thought, that's fucking weird, because you've done it once and you do it twice. Obviously, you don't mind it, but she said the second trip wasn't the best, and she opted out and she cancelled, didn't do the third. So, because I'm completely new to it, I've never done it, kind of thing. Do you go for 1 day? Do you do like 5 days? Can you choose to keep going? Can you continuously do it? Like, what's the best method to maximize it? Do you need to know your why first and then really continue doing it?
Yeah, so it varies. I mean, look, so we did 2 days. You could just sit once, potentially. Matilda, my girlfriend, she did 30 days back to back in the jungle. So that's called a dieta. So to give some context on why you would do it, it depends what the purpose is. So a dieta, for example, is all about completely clearing yourself. So from an early age, we take on, so you've obviously heard me talk about beliefs and meanings that we kind of create about the world as we grow up, right? You've heard me talk about this in the mindset content. Everything that we see in the world, all of our perceptions of our reality, are a combination of all of our experiences from earlier life up until now. Right? We're influenced by everything. We're influenced by other people. We're influenced by the films, the music that we watch, the experiences that we've had. They all give meaning to our lives and change how we are. Now, when you go into that space, you have the possibility to essentially rewrite all of those things and go into a completely different space. You can turn yourself basically into a newborn baby if you do it long enough. So when you do a dieta, what they do is they take away all stimulants. You'll eat the shittest, most bland food ever. So there's no stimulation from taste. You don't consume films, music, nothing. And you essentially reset yourself using the medicine. And then afterwards, after the dieta, you only eat one type of food for an extended period of time. You have to be careful you don't be watching violent films, because then you're still bringing this back into your consciousness and influencing yourself. You're essentially giving yourself an amazing opportunity to rewrite who you are and who you want to be in many, many ways. So that would be like an extended version. If you're doing like a shorter trip, for example, like what I did, and just for clarity, I'm no expert here.
Sure.
Like I've sat 3 times total, these are just from conversations that I've had with epic people like my girlfriend and other people in the space who are far more educated on the subject than I am. But that's kind of my general overview. In terms of my particular experience, so I was sitting for 2 days. The first day you sit like maybe a small amount of medicine to see how you sit with it, see how it goes. The second day you can up it if you want to have a deeper experience. And the idea is to have a very clear intention when you go in, because she gives you the answers. I say she because she's often referred to as Mother Ayahuasca. Right. And she's very much like she's like that tough mother that fucking, like, if you fuck up, she's going to slap you up. But she loves you a lot all the same. But she'll take you on a journey. And yeah, you go in there, you set your clear intentions. What do you want to take from the experience? And my experience with that is I got exactly what I asked for every single time.
And which was? Do you mind sharing that?
Sure. So the first one, I'll be honest, I was a bit nervous. I was really nervous because different people have different things. It can take you into the deepest, darkest depths of your fucking soul.
Completely forgot about it, right? Stuff that you didn't even know was that deeply there,
right? It can take you in some really horrific places. And it's a fully immersive experience, which you're not really aware of how to get out of. So, like, for example, like one of the experiences my girlfriend had once in one particular trip, she experienced every single way a woman has been killed over every lifetime. Like getting dragged behind horses, getting killed, getting like all sorts of shit, you know?
Are you sleeping during, are your eyes closed? Are you walking around like
No, your eyes closed. I mean, sometimes you get up to go shit yourself, but other than that, like
That's the question. I don't ask if you ever shit yourself.
yeah, I'll get to that. You definitely purge, mate. Yeah, I didn't shit myself. It does happen, but I was able to take myself to the toilet. Yeah. But the first one I went in with, I was like, I wanted to experience unconditional love. I wanted to fully experience that in my body. And now that's something that to a lesser extent, I feel like I hadn't really experienced as a kid, maybe, you know, my growing up wasn't conventional to say the very least. And I grew up with a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and I wanted to know what it feels like to just purely feel unconditional love and go into that space. And it was also a way of asking for a pleasant trip, if I'm honest.
For sure.
You know, and
it's a nice way of doing it.
I felt so connected with the universe and everything else around me, and I fully experienced that. And it's probably one of the most profound experiences of my life. And I remember it takes you on like this two-sided journey. It takes you onto a bit of a darker piece, because to really experience deep, deep love, you also need to experience deep pain to a certain extent. So it took me on quite a dark journey of like the darker pieces of myself that stand between myself and experiencing unconditional love. You know, my own anger, my own resentment, these are things that stand between me and unconditional love. So I had to go into all of those things, which are quite unpleasant. And then on the flip side of that, on the other side, then you get to go through it and come out the other side. That's why they call it a trip, because it's like you go through the bumps in the road and then you come out and it's like a fucking amazing story. And then there's another medicine called hape, which is it gets blown into your nose through like a ceremonial pipe. And basically what it is, it's different plants mixed together. It's the ash of different plants mixed together, some of it being tobacco. And it just takes you into a really deep meditative space. Depending on what plants are in there, it has different effects. And the shaman, he hit me with a hape, and I just remember just lying there crying, just literally crying my eyes out, feeling unconditional love. And it was stupidly powerful. And I think just to give credit to the guy who did it, like he was the most unbelievable musician ever. Like in the Shipibo tradition, they sing to you. Was it Shipibo? I don't know. Someone's gonna have to correct me on this. There's two different lineages, one that's really quiet and one that sings. And on this particular one, they have a particular type of trait. It's a particular type of chanting where he sings, and it was unbelievable. You can feel the vibrations of the song go through your body when he sings to you, and the song comes to him what he feels that you need in that moment. And he was then playing the guitar. He was playing all these musical, like amazing songs. He was singing. At one point, he was playing the guitar. He had like some sort of tambourine on his foot, and he had something else like on his shoulder, and it was just like this whole like musical thing popping off. And I was just like in absolute awe and like mesmerized with this whole experience. So that was the first one. And then the second experience, so after that, you have to be very conscious of what you consume, right? So you just take it real easy the next day. You don't want to be looking at your phone, talking to other people.
Do you eat?
Yeah, you can eat, but there's certain things you don't eat, like avocado, for example. You can't have it, like it has a particular reaction. You're advised not to eat meat or dairy products. Vegan diet is what's usually recommended around it, just because of the type of energy that comes with eating dead animals, essentially. There's a lot of people you'll hear that go into Ayahuasca. I think Mike Tyson was one of them. He went in, then came out and had to be vegan afterwards. It's fairly common. And this is to do with like the energy of the food, the frequency of death in that sense. And then the second experience that I had, this was really, really powerful for me. So I went in asking it was about, I wanted to feel worthy. Now, this is something that a lot of people struggle with. Most people do to a lesser extent, and probably people will be surprised when I sit here having these conversations, I do these talks, but I struggle with unworthiness. Like I often feel not good enough to do stuff. I'm confident as fuck, right? I'm very confident, but I still have times where I doubt myself and I feel not good enough, or am I doing enough here? Am I doing enough there? It's really, really common. And I really wanted to address what that deep feeling of unworthiness was, where it comes from, where is this desire to prove myself? And that was something I wanted to come into contact with. And in the second experience, it was really, really interesting. So I went in, the experience starts. I did a superhero dose on this one. Like I was like,
superhero dose, a bigger dose.
Yeah, he was like, do you want to do more this time? You've dealt with the medicine, you felt the energy of the room. I was like, hit me, bro. Let's go. Let's go on a trip. And I went in and it hit me hard. And like, you know, like I said, it takes you like to the negative piece and then it kind of pulls you out the other side to like positivity. Imagine like a war film, it all goes to shit. There's the big battle, and then you come out the other side, the music's singing, the chick's there, and you're like, hey, it's all right now. It's kind of like that. And I went in, and the flip side of wanting to experience my worthiness and feel good enough was going through feeling like utter shit and looking at some of the horrific things that I've done in my life. Then going the opposite end of it and going completely egotistical. I remember going into this space like, fuck this ayahuasca stuff. I know what I'm fucking doing. I've got all this under control. I thought I knew everything. Everything was sussed. I had everything under control. I was like the utmost authority on the world and how it should fucking operate. It was like full fucking egotistical arrogance. Yeah, literally, I was just like, I am Jesus. It was like that. And it was like this really like kind of, it was a horrible feeling afterwards. And then it kind of moved straight through that. And then I went back into like this eternal gratitude and experiencing my whole journey and seeing everything that had unraveled and how positive it was and how grateful I was for everything that had happened to me up until that moment that had brought me to where I was. And I just went into such a deep gratitude for who I am as a human being, which was kind of like the full circle where I was able to really experience my own worthiness. And and then just so powerful, man.
Who would you recommend ayahuasca to? Because you never hear people say, "Oh, go on, I recommend ayahuasca to you." You hear a lot of people go and do it and speak about it from their own development and their own stories, but you never hear people say, "I recommend you would go and do ayahuasca," whatever it may be. And I feel like in my life, I'm content. I've got good relationship, good money, good business. I'm very settled in. Obviously, I've got my demons. I've got things going on as well, my pain points. But I believe that ayahuasca for me, it's a tool to use later down the line for when I do have bigger issues. So do you think you can do ayahuasca now and continue to do it over time, or is it something you would recommend someone to do like when they've got, like, I don't know, for example, God forbid, so somebody dies, for example, it really affects me really deep. Is that a good time to go and do ayahuasca? No, when is the right time? What is the right time for people?
It will call you, man. It's not really. It's definitely, the medicine just calls you in, man, when it's the right time. It just kind of aligns. Like my story, like I just explained, like that's like law of attraction right there. It's like when it needs to come into your life, it does. And like I explained, everybody dropped out. I was thinking about dropping out. Everybody fucked it off. And then this perfect scenario came about. And like, Jesus Christ, if that isn't a sign that it's meant to happen today, what is? So that would be the first thing. And there's also, I think, a bit of a misconception. Yes, it's used for people that experience trauma and they want to get a new perspective on these things, but it doesn't have to be that. Like, for example, like a lot of people that have sat many, many times, they're not necessarily going into their trauma over and over again. Maybe they just want to realign themselves about what's important to them. Maybe they just want a different perspective on the things they should be doing. As an example, the third time, so I did it twice that time, then left, went and did a bunch of stuff in LA, and then we had the opportunity to sit one last time before we left. So we did this about 2 weeks later. So we ended up going, fuck it, let's just go. So we did. That time I went in there and I asked for clarity of vision. What should I be doing with my life? I wasn't looking to go into trauma, my unworthiness, what the fuck's wrong with me. I wanted to know where I should be focusing my attention. I had Unix, the lifestyle lab, I had all these different things going on, the marketing company that I was doing with the crypto marketing company. There's all these different things. Obviously, we're advising crypto projects. Where should my attention be? And I wanted to know. And the message that came through distinctly, fucking clear as day, was empowering people through education is what you're meant to be doing. You are meant to be enlightening people as to the different ways that they can live their lives. And that's exactly what you're doing with Unix Gaming. That's exactly what you're doing with the Lifestyle Lab. Keep fucking doing that. Keep doing it. Scale it up. Hit more people. Increase the platform, because you can help so many people with what you're doing. And it was just clarity around that. And the things that came with that were cut out the bullshit. Don't talk to those people that aren't important anymore, that aren't relevant to your life, that aren't empowering you, that aren't sending you in a good direction. Be careful about where you're spending your time, Really fucking put time and energy into empowering people through education. That's where the focus should be. So on that note, it doesn't have to be about trauma. It could just be about wanting some real clarity of direction. And because in that space, it's completely different. You're not held back by your previous conditioning. You're not held back by the experiences you've had. You are just kind of fluid in this space, in a place where you can receive these messages.
So I put this out to the community yesterday. I had quite a few questions. If you don't mind me just flying through a couple of these.
Let me start one live, because someone's here live now, and someone about it will ask, like, sorry if he's missed, but how did you finance being able to start the Lifestyle Lab, and how did the Lifestyle Lab come about? Don't even want to ask on the mic, because it might be able to hear it.
Sure. So what was the question?
How do we finance a Lifestyle Lab, right?
How do we finance the Lifestyle Lab? How were you able to start it financially, and how did it start?
It was self-funded. We never had a business loan. So I'm really proud of it. We never took a loan. We never had creditors and never raised money for lifestyle life. It's all off our own backs, all off our own money. I guess we was in a fortunate position myself. I'd sold courses previously. I had bankroll, forex trading, etc. I had a decent account, so I withdrew from that. For me, it was self-funded. I was fortunate to meet Lewis and to meet Joe, who also, he had a business elsewhere. He had money in the bank as well, right? Lewis had money in the bank, and we was willing to put that money into the business. And from there, obviously, the profits we've got, people probably even know us, we don't take a salary out of Lifestyle Levels 3 boys. Everything we have right now goes back into it, so we see the bigger picture. We want to get physical location. So at the moment now, we have no income. It's through trading or through crypto pumps and all that. But so basically, that's how we did it. We just basically put our own money in and kept watering the seed. For a business, you have to keep watering the seed. You know, a lot of people get the first paycheck, pull it out, buy a car, fucking whatever it may be, go and buy Gucci and all that. But obviously, we've got the business experience to keep watering the seed and keep that money flowing and keep putting it back in. Which 100% of our money, if it's not expenses, now goes on marketing or adverts or whatever it may be, trying new things. So I don't know if you want to add to that, job, but that's how we kind of free rolled and it's rolling now.
Yeah, I mean, it was all about building community as well. I mean, obviously you had an epic community when we first started, which was hugely valuable, and obviously a monthly subscription model. So we had our own money that helped, and then of course we were doing a good thing from the off. So we were really successful from the off with the community you already had, the following you had at the time. Like you had 100,000 followers on Instagram, you know, people saw what a cool thing we were putting together. So people got involved. And then so it financed itself pretty quickly. And
we believe in what we do. So that's why we went for a monthly membership, because we believe like there's so much endless value there over time. And obviously, if you do, that's why we love like fucking Netflix, all that, and month subscriptions, which just cash flow continuously flowing in. So that's why, because I used to sell courses like £200, £300, £400, a grand sometimes, and that was good money. But then it'd kind of die out with a WhatsApp group going on, it's £5 a month, whatever it may be, like hustles. But then when you build community, you want to scale community. The only way to basically do that is to do a month subscription, because people keep paying, and we believe in our service and our value back then. Even more true now. We have so many more offerings now.
It's amazing.
So yeah, basically, if that's a business question, basically to go back to it is, if you believe in what you do, one, put your own money in. Two, there's nothing wrong with taking loans, but just know what you're going to do with a loan. Just know what you're going to do with the money. Yeah. Especially with investors, that's the first thing they're going to ask. And three, if you believe in your product or your service, then if you can do a month subscription, I strongly recommend doing that as well.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, like for us, it's easy. It's a pretty simple model. Like we didn't want to do really expensive courses that people get ripped off with, like, because there's so many dickheads out there that are doing that. Yeah. Do it monthly, cancel anytime. We have no choice but to offer the value, because if we weren't doing it properly and it was fucking shit, then people would cancel.
Well, doesn't it? So it keeps us busy, you know, because we want to we give a lot, we give so much out already, but we want to keep improving, keep optimizing. For those that have been around for a year and a half, the business is almost 2 years old. Like we want them to have some new, some exciting, some more value, some more income stream. So again, having that month subscription gives us the money to then go and bring in more mentors, more courses, more things, more giveaways. We give away fucking so much of that. I said to the boys, we may as well be a charity. I'm going to register as a charity. So we give that much out. But that's the fun of doing community-driven businesses, though, because we give so much out. I just say. Yeah. So yeah, I got a question here. Any more on the live, Lou? There's a question here. Basically, I think it's great. Kate asked, when you're doing ayahuasca, can you see the future? Do you get like visions of the future? Is it like tarot card reading? I know it's a lot of nonsense, all that stuff. But can you see the future? Can you go there and manifest the future?
Yeah, for sure. You can do whatever you want in that space. Like if you're talking like it's like the quantum realms, you know, everything is energy, you know, and within that space, anything's fucking possible, man. Absolutely.
A lot of it, but my opinion was it's your past. It's your past, but it's not right. It's
not necessarily. Wrong, it can be your future. It can be your past. It depends what your intention is. Like it's not like a fortune teller. It's not like Mystic Meg, and you go in there and like you rub yourself, and then all of a sudden like the future pops up. Yeah. It's not really like that. But you get what you need. You know, you go with it. If whatever your intention is, what you're trying to get out of that situation, you will get that. That is for sure.
Andrews asked, what is the post-experience short-term effects on the body? I know you was beat up because I think you took 3 days off after, and the calls we had, you were low on energy, you were beat up, you were worn out, you were fucked, right?
No, so that wasn't a physical thing. So there's a physical element to it. Like it's tiring for sure. Like if you're like, you know, if you do like a shitload of mushrooms, like your head feels a bit achy, you know, like it's a lot going on. There's a lot of fucking neural circuits firing in your brain, right? So there's that side of it, but it's also that you want to keep yourself clear, because you're so open. The last thing you want to do is go on that amazing journey and then sit there wanking yourself off to porn and fucking watching like horror movies and like pulling to all this negative stimulus that's shit for you. So you just got to be really clear about what you get involved in. So you don't want to overstress yourself. You want to sit with the experience. It's called integration. It's something that's massively overlooked. You are so fucking open. You've just opened like a portal in your mind to what's possible and having a different perspective on life. The last thing you want to do is throw yourself back into your normal everyday life and remind yourself of who you used to be when you're trying to be somebody else, or at least a better version of yourself, right?
Somebody asked, what was the most valuable lesson you learned through your ayahuasca experience?
I mean, everything that I just explained. I don't think I can explain it any better than that, really. Yeah, it was. I asked the questions that I asked, and I got all of that and more from the experience.
Something I picked up on earlier, something I really fucking believe we should talk about more, is like basically when you stimulate, you become more creative. If you're in the right space at the right time, like how many times we had shower falls, etc. Someone put here, did you encounter anything that could be considered an intelligent entity during the trip? If so, what did they show you?
Sure. Well, I met Mother Ayahuasca. Like the reason why she's spoken about in that way is like she is an entity. It is an energetic being that absolutely exists. The reality is, if everybody goes into that experience and meets the same kind of energy, the same fucking, I don't want to say person, but the same entity, odds are it's probably something real there, right? People meet the same entities, the same different gods, goddesses, you know, all these different things, these kind of entities that are cross culture and across history and time. People meet all the same ones in that space. So yeah, Mother Ayahuasca is who I met. She's epic. She's a G.
She's a G, yeah?
She's a G.
One more on ayahuasca and I want to move on to something else. Most importantly, did the journey make lasting changes to your life? I know you've only done it 3 or 4 months ago. And will you be taking the journey again?
100% to both. It's had lasting changes. I mean, how can you not get a lasting change from getting total clarity of vision? I felt completely zeroed in on the things that I need to do. I feel completely dedicated to what we're doing here and what I'm doing, like in terms of education with Unix. I'm zeroed in on what I need to do.
You've
so how can you not have a lasting change?
I've seen a massive shift in you, like productivity-wise, everything.
There you go.
So I want to move on from this. So this is from Eliza. Shout out to Eliza. She's out here now. I was with her last night. She wrote this in my notes. Joe, when you're speaking live, do you feel any anxiety at all? If not, how did you overcome it? And what advice do you have for others that struggle to talk live? Because even I struggle. Everyone struggles, right? I think even the most successful people, they say they struggle to get nervous before they go on stage or that kind of stuff.
Sure.
You come across like a really confident guy, really fucking quirky, you know, really outgoing. Do you get nervous before you go on stage?
Sometimes. I mean, when we started the Lifestyle Lab, I'd never done any of this shit. If you look at the first mindset videos, that is the first time I'd ever stepped on camera and done anything. The production quality is shit, so I apologise. I'm refilming that. The content, I quite like the content, but the filming quality is shit, and I'll be sorting that out with the latest mindset course. But not so much. I mean, there's the usual thoughts. Do I look like a dickhead? Do I make sense? Do I sound smart? You question these things always. I do this when I jump on podcasts, like when I'm choosing like little bits of it. Do I sound like an idiot there? Did I too much? Did I too much? You know, there's loads of things, and certain things like I did a talk this morning on Fully Lived. It was a really cool thing hosted by a coach and friend of mine, Jamin, who basically brought all sorts of different entrepreneurs and people living a really cool life together. Essentially the same guests I get on here, but in like a coaching kind of masterclass format. And before that, I hadn't read anything up, and like I felt a little bit nervous before because I wasn't particularly well prepared. You know, I've been out with you boys, you know, fucking doing photo shoots and stuff. So like if I'm not particularly well prepared, I think, fucking hell, am I going to make myself look like an idiot on this? But now I've been doing it so often, I actually don't give a fuck. I still think it, as everyone does, am I going to look like a dickhead? But I just override it so fucking quick. That's basically what it is. Yeah. It's like the thoughts still come, but they get ignored very, very quickly. And I think it's the hack to that is just do it. Like
repetition, right? As well.
Just do it. Just do it.
Said and done, though, right? That's just a fucking thing.
Yeah, but push those edges, because the more you push them, the less they become edges. The more they become the center of what's going on, rather than the outskirts, you know, of what's difficult. And so, yeah, I guess to answer the question, sometimes if I'm not particularly well prepared, I did at the beginning for sure, because all these questions come up. Am I a moron? Who am I to be talking about mindset? Like, you know, you go, I'm not fucking Gary Vaynerchuk. Like, who am I to be talking shit? But the reality is, there's just perspective shifts around that. Everybody can learn something. Like all sorts of different people can learn something from me. I can learn all sorts from you. It doesn't matter who you are. We can all learn something from other people. And the only people that have got shit to talk and shit to say, their opinions aren't valid anyway, because they're probably the guys sat on the sideline doing jack shit. So fuck them. and don't worry about it.
There you go, Liza.
There you go.
There you go, great answer. So moving on, so basically we can start wrapping this up. You are right now in a creative space, you're writing a lot, we're getting a brand new mindset course coming out. Do you want to dive into what that's going to consist of and where you're at with that? It's something you enjoy doing, for sure.
Yeah, right? I love it. So last week's been a little bit difficult. Obviously, you've been over. Just for the record, for anyone that doesn't know, it's the first time all of the partners of the Lifestyle Lab in the same country at the same time, because we're usually traveling all over the world.
The floor, we've been out drinking every night.
I haven't. I haven't.
I'm living with Scott. Fuck me and Scott and Lucy together. It's a nightmare.
You don't want to see Scott?
No. Scott's gone a little bit off the rails, isn't he? We need to get him back.
Like me and Lewis, like yesterday in the cafe, he's like joking, do you want a beer? I'm like, yeah, go on. And I say, I'll get a vodka coke. And he's like, we might as well get a bottle then. It's just one small idea, just turns into a big fucking, and 8 hours later, not been home, not slept. I feel like shit, here we are. So yeah, mate, you're
doing great, by the way. I've got to say, you're putting some...
I'm pulling through, bro. But this also works in the business sense. This is why when we're in a room, the energy's great. You know, we bounce off each other. That's why I think the business is fucking thriving right now, because the energy's... One, we can party hard and go crazy. We can also work hard and produce a lot of fucking great content.
That was a big test, man. I really wanted to drink. I really wanted to fucking drink with you boys.
Maybe 18
First time all together and not allowed to fucking get on it.
But you made a promise to yourself. So because me, I would break that easy, I would say. But you made a promise to yourself, right? It says so much about you as well. And that's why you're doing a mindset course. You got the fucking the beans to back it up.
I appreciate that, man.
So you want to dive into what what's it you're writing? What are you going to be? What's this course going to consist of for the people waiting for it?
Yeah, so it's going to be very similar to the old one, but it's going to be better production quality, more targeted. It's going to include a lot of the different things that I've learned over the course of the last couple of years. It's going to be directly related to online business as well, because ultimately a lot of people come into the Lifestyle Lab with this idea, I just want to make loads of money. The reality is, if you are not the person who has the right skills, you are not going to do it. You have to become the person that makes lots of money. You don't just get it overnight. And even if you do just get it overnight, you'll probably lose it a few nights later. Sure. That's the reality of the situation. So mindset is hugely important. And then when it actually comes to earning money, you need to believe it's possible. I talk about this in the mindset course. Like, if you don't believe you can do something, you won't think it's very likely to happen. You won't feel like you can actually do it. And if you don't feel like you can do it, you won't bother to take action in the first place. So then you're never going to get any results and nothing ever happens. And it all starts with believing whether it's possible. Sure. So I cover these types of concepts that can then be transformed into strategies that get you what you want. So I cover the mindset elements, which is like the starting block. And then I cover how to have the right strategy and then how to execute on what it is that you want so you can live a happier, more fulfilling life.
It's the feedback we get for your course is insane. Obviously, we do the workshop and everyone just says that your fucking videos are insane. So I know they're going to be a smash hit. I want to touch on the outreach rep, because we basically had a pause of going through them all. I want to give a massive shout out to all the applications that have come through. We had 3,000, Scott, how many 3,000 some emails come through?
Mate.
We filtered them down to like the final 50 and 60, and the application we got through were fucking epic. I don't want to name names, because I'll miss people out. I think people think I've forgotten or not watching. We're halfway through, so I just want to give a massive shout out and touch on what we're going to do with that. So we're in Bali now, all of us. It's open, so you can fly direct. So I'll be back here a lot more often. You'll be in town a lot more often now. There's no quarantine. The outreach rep role is going to be a fucking sick role. This isn't going to be one position that's it done. This is something we're going to hire continuously throughout the next number of years. The more people we can impact, the more people we have on the streets, more people emailing, DMing people, the bigger the business, the bigger the impact we have on it. So my idea with the outreach rep was to basically get one person initially, and we all thought it was a great idea, get people out doing flyers, posters. But as the application come in, we'd hire all 50. I would hire all 15 people if we had the money for it. If we had the money. So we're now looking at hiring 5, 6, 7 people. We're trying to work out the finances to see if that's fucking possible.
We want to hire you all.
We do. No, we truly do. We do, because I'll be completely honest. If we're going to get a 1-bedroom villa in Bali or get a 4-bedroom villa in Bali, it's not going to cost us that much money difference. As long as people are comfortable living in a big environment. Sure. And the energy, because I used to be an outreach rep selling fucking boat party tickets and Ibiza, and walking around the street lonely is all right. It's good fun, it's a good lifestyle. But when you got 8 other people, 7 other people doing it with you, the ideas you have, it's better for them, it's better for us. And it's more fun. Sure. And we want all them to vlog it. So we want to have I want to call them the lifestylers. I want to have this fucking huge Bali fucking villa. I want it to be fucking great. I want it to be huge. In the daytime doing outreach rep, nighttime doing sales calls. We've had a lot of great people with great backgrounds. Like, they've got great careers and willing to keep up to come over here, which says a lot about them and their job. Shout out to Claire. I will give a shout out to Claire. She's fucking insane. Like, her application was sick. She's a Claire personally. You can probably speak on this.
She's sick, man.
So she's like a sales team lead. We've got so much fucking talent who want to come and work at a lifestyle lab, but it's just a shame to waste it and put it on the inbox.
Yeah.
So if you applied for it, shout out you. We're going through the applications now. The fucking impressive people, like the creative side of it. The
Some of them are just mad. I think just to give some context on that for the outreach rep, for anyone that doesn't know, like, so basically what we did is we realized we want to have physical locations all over the world. So in all the big traveling hubs with the lifestyle lab, right? What we endorse is traveling,
cafes, bars,
exactly that. So we ultimately want people in Cancun, people in Phuket in Thailand, you know, Koh Samui here in Bali, and we wanted to get people that can come into contact with people that would potentially be a good fit for our business, right? Bit of sales, bit of outreach reppy, you know, think selling boat party tickets, you know, like Jay used to do back in the day.
It's more fun,
exactly, but more fun, you know,
empowering,
and just showing people in real world locations. And we offered to cover wages, accommodation, flights, and fly somebody out to Southeast Asia to get on board of this role.
It was a marketing call as well. We labelled it the most desirable job in the world, which I truly believe it is. It's a great opportunity. Well, you get well up to after.
Great marketing. Yeah. Great marketing.
It's worked great for us. We've had so many members come through just by saying, I've seen your job, I went to your website, I looked at your Instagram, now I love what you do. I'm fully part of the business.
Yeah.
It was great marketing. Also, we've got 50 great people. We'll hire on 50 of them over time. In 5 or 6 years.
Don't hold us to that, guys. Don't hold us to that. We'll try. We're going to try.
Yeah, these will be something we'll try and do. Well, these are the people we'll go to first.
Sure.
We'll go to say, listen, we have this.
100%.
We're also these people we're looking at making roles for that are not a fit for this, but will be an epic fit for another position, right?
Yeah.
So our business, if hopefully this plan goes ahead, I've got to convince the boys, we'll have the money for it. This was 10x the business. And it just brings in 10 more people to the business. And
10 epic people.
Fucking sick. It'd be fucking insane.
Yeah, it could be nuts.
Yeah, we just paused going through them and just thought, this fucking sick. We watched all of them right to the end. It's like, that's fucking sick.
I know. It was like, another good one.
But the downside is we have to say no to 40 people, 50, 45 people, which is another bummer. We're taking concise notes. Like we're gonna hurt a lot of people as well, which is not a nice part. That's that part of business.
It's going to be a not yet. If you watch the mindset content, it's going to be a not yet. Not a definitive no. Sure. It's because there's so many good people.
That's an exciting part. So the lifestyle labs that are it's at a crossroads where we're about to scale. You've probably seen Joe's face everywhere.
I'm sick of my own face.
We're scaling everywhere. We're doing everything right now. We're getting 20, 30 members a day sometimes. Yesterday we got like 30 members through the door, which is just fucking incredible. Nuts. So yeah, everything's going good. So how are you feeling with the business? Where do you see the future? Because when I first did the podcast 2.5 years ago, your first question was, where do you see this? And if I listen back to answer, I'd probably cringe. I would think, fucking hell, it's nowhere near it. But I think now we're on the trajectory of fucking doing something really, really. I never thought we'd have like physical location. That's never really triggered. But since we're doing these meetups in Manchester, Belfast, or Mega's ever missed the fucking meetup. But she comes back and tells all the stories. And like we have to put these people together in a room. Yeah. So if we have these in Bali, and then think about Newcastle, Leeds, Manchester, have some in England as well. It's just not as fun in England, is it? But it's still as powerful.
It's better on a boat, isn't it?
It's better on a boat. So yeah. So
rather than a barge.
How are you with the lifestyle? How are you feeling? Because obviously, we put in a ridiculous amount of time into this. I wake up, think lifestyle, I go to sleep, think lifestyle. And we're on the phone 3, 4, 5 hours a day, loose in the chair 12 hours a day. No. We have like an ongoing joy to lose in the chair for 12 hours a day. But we're putting all our energies in this, right? We're not you got a little hustle on Unix, but I know you're fully invested into lifestyle, fully focused here. So how are you feeling now as well?
Mate, I love it. Mate, I love this business. I love the community. I love the impact it's having on people's lives. And I love being in a position where we're able to influence that and actually give people opportunities that we didn't have. We had to make it on our own. Essentially, we had to discover these things, work it all out. Not everybody ends up, it has the series of events that leads people to doing that.
Sure.
We have created a platform where we can show you how to travel, where you can live remotely, where you can earn money passively, where you can create side hustles, and where you can do this around epic people. I think the thing that always hits me is the people. It's the positive attitude in that community. It's when you bring people together that are like-minded, that are positive. How many times have you heard from people, I don't even talk to my old friends anymore because these people shit on my dreams, whereas the people in the lifestyle lab just big me up and want me to succeed?
Every day.
Now, 10x that.
Yeah.
Imagine the impact you can have to people all over the world, spreading that kind of positivity, those kind of opportunities. I just want to do that at scale. I just want to keep scaling this business, keep doing cool shit, keep doing podcasts. Now I'm back settled, You know, I just want to just keep leveling up the lifestyle.
And when one's like content creation, which I think is exciting for a lot of people too. The podcasts were hitting a lot. You used to get tagged in it a lot. Again, people come to me in my WhatsApp group say that podcast was sick. So the feedback we get from that's huge. So that's coming back as well, right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, this is why it's the perfect first podcast back. You know, like we get to have a recap. You get to interview me and tell me, like, so I can talk about where the fuck I've been for the last 5 months. You know. And yeah, but I'm excited. I've got some epic guests lined up. I've got amazing people to talk to. I've got crypto people that are changing the fucking world. I've got different coaches and inspirational people here in Bali that I can talk to. So many people. And I can't wait to have those conversations.
And finally, just to wrap up the NFT project, I got to speak to that. So basically, we're going to launch an NFT, lifestyle NFT. We basically sat, racked our brains for weeks, months, probably a year. We got Dom in the NFT mentor to get some ideas. He gave some good ideas. And we're about to launch an NFT project as well, which is fucking sick. We're just doing the white paper now, looking at locations. That's all popping up. So that's coming.
Stay tuned
so we are
for that one.
Like, this business will be crypto, will be NFT, will be fucking everything, will be gamification, will be all that, right?
100%. Crypto is going to change the fucking world, and we're about changing the world. So
I just want to say, Raj, I'm super proud of you as a good friend, good business partner. I'm really happy to have you in my life, bro. You're bringing me a lot of positivity and energy, man. So
appreciate that, man.
But you do it to a lot of people. Me personally, we speak a lot. So I just want to say thank you, bro. I think you're a sick guy. And can't wait to grow this business with you further.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. I want to say likewise, man. This journey's been nuts. Shit.
That's a wrap.
Yeah, man. Thank you, bro.